I should start by
good afternoon, everybody. Welcome again to Sarah Network.
the ONS
Within a Sarah Bay Hotel, Nabadi, as African Union, an organ of African Union, all the stakeholders meeting. And we didn't do the first and second segments. Now we did do the third and final segments. We're the security sectors. So now the security sectors, they can make their own statements of their own preparation for the election, doing and after the election.
Because they have primacy over internal security. So it is actually the Sierra police that should provide security for the smooth conduct of elections in Sierra Leone. Now, what the ONS and other security sector institutions do is actually to support the Sierra Leone police to be able to create the enabling environment for the ECSL to conduct a free, fair, and credible elections. Now, in Sierra Leone, the security sector has always, ever since, been supporting the Electoral Commission of Sierra Leone, then National Electoral Commission, to conduct elections. But this support to ECSL, it used to come in silos. The military will provide support, the police will provide support. So by 2012, what we did, the National Security Council Coordinating Group formed a subcommittee referred to as the Integrated Election Security Planning Committee. Now, it is this committee will now synchronize the security sector's support to ECSL. So now, instead of the Sierra Leone police providing direct support or the military providing direct support, the support to the ECSL is now synchronized. So what has the ONS done so far? So the National Threat Assessment 2022-2023 rated threats to the 2023 elections as a very high threat. And as such, the national intelligence requirements for Sierra Leone requested all intelligence agencies in this country to make threats to the electoral process as a priority one issue, which means that all the intelligence agencies in Sierra Leone must collect on those threats. You don't have any option. So by 2021, the ONS had activated the Integrated Election Security Planning Committee. So by the same 2021, the security sector, through the IESPC, now did what we refer to as a National District Risk Assessment. Now that District Risk Assessment was to look at what are the key threats to the 2023 elections. We were able to come up with over 100 threats, more than 100 threats were identified as those threats that will either undermine, derail, or threaten the smooth conduct of elections in the country. We were also able to identify specific threats that are peculiar to certain communities, certain regions, and threats that cut across the nation. So we're able to do that. We did not stop there. As a sector again, we now developed 3 strategic documents. The first was, we asked ourselves, how do we want to approach, how do we want to support the ECSL's conduct of the elections? And so we developed the election security strategy. So the strategy is there, which guides our support to ECSL. We also developed a training manual for our personnel, all security sector personnel. We also developed a communication strategy. So, sometime early this year, we have started rolling out these 3 documents. The IESPC went around the country training over 600 senior police officers, we call them we conducted a training of trainers workshop for all of for more than 600 of our security sector personnel. Now, when the man from the Human Rights Commission was talking this morning, he made mention of the Human Rights Commission's participation in that training. Now, their role was specifically to talk to our trainers, our security sector officials, on the importance of human rights in elections, and also on the importance of upholding security sector personnel, upholding human rights in carrying out their responsibilities during and even after elections. So that was it. And then we had a series of other topics involved in that training, including, because a good number of the issues we're going to have conflicts, we expect that we'll have violence, and some of these will not think, except if they are criminal in nature, but they are very serious that people go to seek redress in court. For some of these, we think through alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, they can be handled. So there was also a training, a topic on alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, especially focusing on mediation and negotiation. So these are some of the things we have done.
Okay, you can pause for now. Let's continue with the other panelists. Come back. Okay, the representative from the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. So, what have your commission put in place so far for a violence-free election?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good afternoon to you all. I think, first of all, I would like to start with recapping from Boss's explanation about the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. This is the commission that is mandated to take measures that will help us have peace, resolve conflict, and we also advise government on peace. So our mandate is triangular shape: conflict prevention, conflict resolution, and advice to government. So you can see the strategic position of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. It is a very new, a very young baby commission that was established in 2020, and we started operations less than 2 years, about 1.5 years ago. But despite that, we have done several activities that are very, very important for nation and state building, peace, security, and development. And first and foremost, we have had interactions, meetings with political parties to make sure that the conduct of their activities are peaceful. We did several district engagement tours with chiefs, civil society organizations, religious and traditional leaders, youth, and even female groups across the country. So when we took over office, we had to go around the country, make them, in as much as popularizing our mandate, also talking to them about peace. So also we have recruited about 600 peace monitors, and these are mostly youth, Okada riders. You may want to know why. This is because most often we put youth in the center of conflict scenarios. We put youth in trouble zones. So we want to make them as well as very important people in terms of monitoring our peace and also reporting to us. So we have done several peace messages, and very recently, about last week, we had a very loud peace march across the country, and it is very unique. For the first time, we have the national peace march across the country on the same theme, on the same format and structure. You see people, young, old, coming out in the street, marching for peace. And the theme was, I stand for peace. Everybody wants peace. Everybody was marching for peace in all the districts. We have also established regional offices in the country. All the regions, now we have offices there. We have very, very hardworking regional coordinators that are facilitating our programs, just to make sure we have peace in this country. And at this juncture, I also want to applaud the support of the African Union in helping us establish a peace situation though. This is a permanent infrastructure, not like other infrastructures that come in for elections ago. We have had the support of the African Union Commission to establish a peace situation though that will identify, report any potential threat to peace and security in this country.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. You can pause for now. Let's go to the public representative from the Sierra Leone Police. So, what are the security measures put in place to ensure the safety of voting materials before, during, and after election?
Thank you very much. That seems to be very small regarding the role of the Sierra Leone Police. And so, let me start actually by stating clearly that the Sierra Leone Police is established by the Constitution, Act No. 6 of 1991, and our functions actually derive from the 1964 Police Act, which clearly states that the Sierra Leone Police shall be employed for the detection of crime and the apprehension of offenders, the preservation of law and order, the protection of property, and the due enforcement of all laws and regulations. Let me start this. As the first speaker clearly stated, the Sierra Leone Police has the primacy. In times of peace, it's the Sierra Leone Police actually that takes primacy. But that does not mean that we work in isolation. It is very clear that even in crime management, we work with people. And that is why we have brought in the community policing, which requires community collaboration and cooperation, because criminals reside in communities. The community members know them better than us. And so they need actually to cooperate and collaborate with us in fighting crime. So the general election is just part of our role, only that it becomes intensified and we come together to put in place structures in order to manage it. And in doing that, we have other players that will help us. Why I said your question is very simplistic is because that is part of our role, but actually we, through MAPI, ask the military, if we go to IESPC, that's the Integrated Election Security Planning Committee, we have several members, and one of such member is the Public Australian Armed Forces. So in fact, during elections, they carry sensitive election materials to various parts of the country. And so hand in hand with them, we provide security to ensure that they remain safe. The Sierra Leone Police also, we ask the fire force to ensure that they deploy within where we have sensitive election materials, so that in case there is fire outbreak, they will be able to put it off. So the role of the Sierra Leone Police cuts across all other stakeholders. We work with them. But I would have actually wanted the public here, this August body, to know a bit why it is the ONS that is coordinating. Okay. Because we all gather there, and what we need to do, we are tasked to do it. What is actually the 1991 war clearly pointed out that all other security sector members had very important information that will be very helpful in the prosecution of the war. But because we are doing it in isolation, that was why we had to face some difficulties. So after that, it was then arranged that we had the ONS, where we find out that we all go there if you have information, filing, others, and so on and so forth. So we are able to put it together. It's better for us to be able to manage it that way. And so that is how we are always there. So, I mean, to stop to your question, because you have not asked us really to go into
so you
management
itself for now.
Yeah, so it's a military really.
Yeah, okay. The military man. What strategies can the army use to prevent violence during the June 2023 election?
Thank you very much.
I know that goes beyond your mandate, but like we are trying to stick around election.
It is still within our mandate by law established. And if you look at the Constitution of Sierra Leone, Chapter 11, and Section 165, subsection 1, clearly established the military. And the same session try to read Section 165, subsection 2, clearly states the rules of the military, which is to preserve the safety and territorial integrity of the state, to participate in its development, to safeguard the people's achievement, and to protect the Constitution of Sierra Leone. Hence, to be able to accomplish that role, Section 167, subsection 1, established the Defense Council, which the President is the chairman. And Section 169 of the same Chapter 11, subsection 2, gives power to the Defense Council to make regulations for the Republic of Sierra Leone forces, performance and its functions under the Constitution of Sierra Leone or any other law, and for the effective and efficient administration of the armed forces. So, the defense missions and tasks couched at the Ministry of Defense is one of those regulations. The defense missions and tasks is divided into three major aspects. We have the defense mission A, which is the security of the territorial integrity of Sierra Leone. Defense mission B, which supports the civil authorities, and defense mission C is the promotion of wider interest. Why I said it is part, your statement was part of our mandate is because if you look at defense mission A, which is the security of the territorial integrity of Sierra Leone, it basically entails protecting our territorial integrity. It also includes military aid to civil power, tax, public and presidential duties. While defense mission B support is the support to the civil authorities. It speaks to the tax concerning aid to other government departments. And election commission of Sierra Leone is just part of government department. So as I said, that is one of the regulations that was made by the Defense Council. So let me now just bring some analysis on how we are involved. The Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces role is instigated under two basic of the defense missions, which is the mission A and B, especially during elections. At the first mission A, the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces is doing border control operations to secure the territorial integrity. That is the reason we have our men, even during elections, our men will be at the borders to provide security. Yeah. And we also prepare to provide support to Sierra Leone police during elections, before elections, during elections, and even after elections.
through military aid to civil power, while Defense Mission B gives us the authority to provide military aid to election commissions review. This could be through, for instance, transportation of sensitive election material to hard-reached areas, which only the military can easily have access to. Those are the legal instruments that brings us in to support the electoral process of this country. Coming to your question, how to deal with violence or whatever. One way we've done is that we made it clear to every military personnel that you should remain apolitical. You are not a politician. If you want to join politics, we can take our uniform from you and be a civilian and go and stand election. Yeah. Secondly, we have been trained on human rights. We've trained our guys on rules of engagement. We've trained our guys on election security, elections rules, elections laws. So our guys are quite aware that elections are human rights, and whoever is going to be tasked to provide support to the SF, to the Sierra Leone police, or the election commission Sierra Leone will by all means know that those people that are going to vote, it is their human right, and nobody is going to take that away from them, not even in the Republic of Sierra Leone forces.
Okay, thanks very much. We can pause here for now. So let's come to ONS. The representative from ONS, in that you provide a coordinating role for the security sector, this meeting would want to know what are the potential consequences of a breach of national security during and after election.
I think our laws are clear on what happens to people when they go against laid down laws. For instance, the Public Elections Act 2022 is very clear on those things political parties or the citizens are expected to do, and those things they are not to do. And that very law describes the punishments that people who go against the very Public Elections Act, it describes the punishments they will face. And so for issues of national security, like elections, which are, say, you damage ECSL property, which is a critical national infrastructure, I think the laws are clear. Much as the Public Elections Act is clear on the punishment, but I think the issue is so serious. The police, they can always come up with charges for you. Yes. So, for breach of national security, I think the laws that establish those institutions, the laws that govern election, is not short of the punishments that people who breach those rules should face.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So, from ICPNC, regarding the peace situation room, so how is it different from the other peace situation rooms across the country? And if they are different or they are performing the same role, how are you guys collaborating in order to avoid duplication?
Thank you again. I think I'm very happy that you give another chance for the peace situation room, because it is very, very important that the public knows about the peace situation room. It is unique in the first instance because it's a permanent infrastructure that is established by the Peace Commission, supported by the African Union Commission. Therefore, it's not like other situation rooms that come and go. This is going to stay with us. And we have trained and qualified staff members that are there to work, to identify, to report on any issues, potential issues that may cause conflict in the country. So, and with regards to that, we also have a toll-free line, and that's 898. That is 898. With all major networks in Sierra Leone, including Africell and Orange. So, citizens can call in at any time, 24 hours, to raise their issues, political, social, economic. We are not there, however, to address those issues all at go. We can make referrals where necessary. And we have very trained staff members that are there to take those calls 24 hours a day.
Okay, thanks very much for that brilliant contribution. Okay, to the police now. What measures have been put in place to prevent voting intimidation and coercion? What does this mean? Simply, like, we want to know the human rights approach being put in place.
The Sierra Leone Police has established election sections within the regional headquarters of the entire country to investigate speedily election complaints. The Sierra Leone Police has trained police officers that are going to be deployed. But let me make one thing very important. In countries where you have enough police officers, we should have been actually single-handedly managed the elections. The last election, the police, the deployment requirement was around 20,000, and by the way, we are below 14,000. And we understand that a 10% or so addition, a 15% addition is going to be made, which means we'll be thinking in the region of 22,000 or more. That means Sierra Leone Police alone in the region of 16,000 will not be able to manage. I'm actually giving you the background. That's why other players are coming in. It's not only the military. We are very much aware that the Sierra Leone Police alone will not be able to manage the general elections. And that is why we bring all the partners. We bring in the military under the marker, the civil aid to the military aid to civil authority. It is under that they actually, that Mark P falls, in which case they help us when we need it. We don't deploy them, we don't ask to be deployed at the election places, but then they will be where, if we are overwhelmed, they'll be able to call me. And so that's why we have established investigation areas in the major regions, the regional headquarters, and even up to district levels, so that swiftly complaints will be taken there, investigated, and then charged to court. We have also established, we call 4 control points. At district level, we have what we could say mini control rooms, who could relate easily to us the seriousness of an incident in a particular place to the regional headquarters at the ICC and down to what we call the National Joint Operations Center here at Morristown. And from there, we'll be able to give immediate instructions. If they require additional support, we make it available. Those individuals will be arrested who are for breaches, like you asked, if they destroy malicious damage, those are criminal matters. The police will investigate it with speed, professionally. And that is why we equally deploy the CDI, the complaint department, the complaint wing, the professional wing of the Sierra Leone Police, so that those police officers who are to manage elections should be required to do it professionally. If they too fall short of what is prescribed, they will be there to do professionally. So, coming back to your question, for those breaches, the police will swiftly go in, investigate, and where there is evidence, charge to court. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay. So how can the army balance its security role with respect to democratic processes during elections?
Thank you again. As I earlier on mentioned, I think it's quite clear. We are giving support to the police. And as I told you earlier, that we remain apolitical. We are not politicians. We only perform our professional role. And that's why we operate under laws. We operate under order given to us by our superiors. And even at those orders, we have individual responsibilities. If you are the commander, you cannot just go and do things on your own or do things out of the way. We have instruments that guide us. We have our rules of engagement, which of course no soldier in the Republic of Sierra Leone forces will fire a shot at a civilian in whatever instance. No, we cannot do that because we are guided by rules of engagement. So our behavior is under strict command and control. So we cannot do anything that we bring or that will throw the image of the military. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I think we are now asking for questions from the public.
Good afternoon, Sheikh Hamad Jr. My first question goes to AIG Ramaja with regards to the police. Quite recently, there has been a lot of confrontations between the civil populace and the police, citing several events, including the August 10. So, what would you do if such reactions comes from the civil population? What would be the position of the police? Would they act with high-handedness or not? That's one. The second one is for the Peace Commission. It is very true that both of our leading political parties in Sierra Leone, like the ONS person had said, they discovered series of threats which are of high threat level. And one of them is because through social media and other things we've seen and heard hate speeches. These are real situations. So for the Peace Commission, what are your plans to have pre-election engagement bridging the gap between our major political parties? Do you have any plans for that? Like bringing them in a round table or a public podium where they can talk peace? Do you have such plans? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I must applaud the security sector, for serving the people of Sierra Leone. You are doing a selfless job. And it's really critical when it comes to elections. My question is, how would you engage the people to understand and complain security officers who go against the law? Because we have seen, I can give you a clear example. During the registration process, there was a police officer there confiscating monies from people just for them, to get people to register and vote. And it was very unprofessional of him. We have bad eggs in the basket. And those are threats. And we know the level of tension, as the colleague have just said. How would you encourage or engage the public to understand that there is a regulatory body to address such cases? It is really, really important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is for the Peace Commission. With regards to the peace situation room, you said you have this room is a permanent one, not like the one that come and go, and you have trained and qualified staff. You have a toll-free line, which is 898, but you don't deal with all cases, you make referrals. So where do you do the referrals? I want to know where the referrals.
Okay, so one is, we know that the country, if we look at it, some of this are here we pay attention to being in our country. National security, ONS, is more paying attention to than human security, human rights. And so we see lots of drugs abused in the country. They push. I have never been to Kawaya in Dorport until Sunday morning, which was my first time. For locals here, we know where Dorport is. I know you know there. So the Kawaya place, I want you to go there 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and see what's happening around there. Youths, including ladies, for me, which is really happening. I don't have to my fellow woman transfer, sleeping on tables. You see them sleeping on themselves, just like sitting down and back like that, and they're sleeping like that. As Americans call it, sleeping drunk. So, what are you doing, considering that it should be human security and ONS, national security, hand in hand, instead of ONS over human security? And then also, I have police. See, you guys are really amazing, especially the ones inside the offices. Inside the offices, they do very well. Outside?
Yeah, it's breaking. Really close to the
outside the offices, the police. Personally, I also have personal encounter with police. They're very good. I'll be very clear with you. The ones outside, they're very good. They're not trained. You'll have to tell them that, are you sure that your work, your profession is to make sure that you protect us?
Your question.
So, what are you going to do about them?
Those ones that are rude.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Shadow from Vice. My question is for national security. It is clear that there have been a communication gap between the security sector and people. And Sierra tend to be peaceful for the most part, but can be violent in these operations. And social media are proven to be a hotspot of violence. So what has been the mechanism put in place from your office in ensuring that close this gap in which social media has been constantly utilized in order to participate in which office? Wiper.
Which office?
Wiper. Thank you.
I think I have one.
Good afternoon, and Abubakar Kuma, Sudi. And over the past few weeks or so, I observed that the country is highly securitized. You can see military or police personnel all over the place. And this is, I think, during pre-independence celebration, we have this guy called Adebayo, who I think even high government officials or authorities do listen to his speech. And most times, he seems to sway or distract attention of our authorities. Don't you think this highly securitized country, don't you think it will scare voters from participating from this forthcoming election? Because mind you, Sierra Leoneans has a mindset that all our security forces are not professional when it comes to handling security situations. In August 10, 8, 9, and 10 is a case in point. We are even post-August 10, you see military personnel go into action, taking the lives of, Sierra Leoneans, peaceful Sierra Leoneans. Don't you think that is the recipe to scare away potential voters during 2023 elections?
Thank you.
This is for PDRC. I could remember we held a meeting about the campaign mode, the guidelines for campaign mode, and that meeting was held in the office of the ONS. And IG Fire 7 attended that meeting and he signed. My concern now is because the question keeps coming to us, PPRC, for supporters and for political parties. They keep asking us, do people have said we should not do street rallies? Or how are you going to monitor, or how are you going to secure us when we'll be going to our campaign designated areas? How well is the SLP prepared to monitor that? Because we are all signatories to the campaign mode. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll start with drugs. I saw much of I had much of the concern really regarding drugs. And for drugs, the national intelligence requirement, drugs like elections, like terrorism, like corruption, are actually priority one requirements in our national intelligence requirements. So it is not anything that the security sector is not looking at. And we now have, apart from the Sierra Leone police, we now have the transnational organized crime unit, which is a police-led but a secular institution involving all primary security sector institutions, including and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, immigration, and some other players. I'll give you some instances to show that these guys have been doing fundamental, they have been doing excellent. And for those of us who were around 2016, 17, some interdictions were made in Cambia, Bombali, and those of us who follow 98.1, the human cry in those communities. A policeman just come, they come off they claim they attacked their homes. They claim they attacked when somewhere in Okadas, the thief Okada and the go. No. Those were well planned and coordinated operations against drug farms, cannabis, and some other drug farms. Now, when we undertake these operations, we do not only arrest the drugs we eat, sometimes we burn the farm, we destroy the farms. It will interest you to note that even some of these guys even have arms on those farms. Yes, they are matter. They can tell you he's the director of operations. The military too can tell you because they are part of those operations. Some of our personnel come under fire. Some of our personnel have been damaged and have been wounded in these operations. Regarding national security, human security, we should be careful to continue as Sierra Leoneans. I think we should begin to disabuse our minds about security. The security we knew post 1991 up to 2002 is not what we look at any longer. The AIG told you why ONS. Now, this is one country, before 2002, before the security sector reform in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone, by the way, is a success story. SSR was a theory. People talk about SSR. It actually was implemented in Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone was like the KDP. And the success, now people come from all over the place, from Nigeria, from all over the place, they come here. So security we look at today is the human security. We believe that just the military and the police cannot, because what they do is the physical aspect of security. But how about all of these other things? How about the health of the people? How about the well-being of the people? Okay, so this is the thing. So human security, security as it is practiced today goes way beyond what we used to do before 2002. And I'll go to communication gap. Actually, this again, the ONS for instance, before some 3-4 years ago, we hardly engaged the public. But the security sector, for instance, the police and the military did, especially the Sierra Leone police. But because we have realized that it is good for institutions to engage the public, it is good for you to tell your own story. Now, this is what we have done. Apart from the ONS Media Communications team, we have now developed the Strategic Security Sector Communications Group. Now, what they have done is they have developed their themes and messages. It's a security sector themes and messages. Now, if, for instance, the Media One, the Sierra Leone Police Media One, is saying something on elections, it is the same message, for instance, the ONS is saying, it is the same message the man from NFL, the National Fire Force, will be saying, it is the same message the man from Correctional Service, it is the same message the Republic of Sierra Leone Armed Forces now is saying. So if you find out now, Mr. Abdulkarim Will, who is the Director of Communications, those of you who follow UIV, SLBC, and 98.1, you hear or see a lot of them, including Mr. Brahma Kabala of the Sierra Leone Police. So I think we are doing a lot communications-wise now. We are bridging the gap. Thank you.
Thank you. I think from my own side, I've got two questions here. One that has to do with, again, similar to threat from social media, pre-election engagement with political parties, and the peace situation group. First of all, with the threat from social media, as a young commission, what we can do is to counter those threats with positive messages in social media as well. We inject some good messages that Sierra Leone is a country that is welcoming peace, a country that is loving, a country that is progressive. Because as a new baby, what we can do at the moment. There are other agencies, organizations that are responsible for dealing with cyber security issues. And with engagement with political parties, yes, we are doing that, and I said that earlier, that we are having intra and inter-party dialogue. In fact, even with their pre-election engagement, even with the main opposition APC party, we used our executive secretary used to sit with their interim transitional government meetings, not to interfere actually with their discussions, but to make sure that peace is at the center of the discussion. I think we do that. So that's what we can do so far. We are planning, and we have been meeting with them also, through PPRC, meeting political parties, their leaders, stakeholders, through political party, through PPRC. I think there is another question about the peace situation room. Yes, I said we can't deal with all cases in the peace situation room, definitely. I remember one of my shifts, I worked there during night shift, somebody called and said, "Oh, my wife is disturbing me." What can I do? Could you imagine? You call in a peace situation room, your wife. So, yeah, we can't deal with all cases, but cases that are pertinent to social security, political security, yes. We don't have probably the logistical arrangement to address those issues, but we can make the further where necessary, like to the security sector, to social welfare, to political organizations, etc., etc.
Thank you. I'm starting with the first, confrontation between the police and civil populace, and whether police will have to act high-handedly. I want to make it very clear that police will only use force as a last resort. We only use force as a last resort. But let me draw your attention to the recent event in the US where 2 legislators were expelled. That, if you watch Kenya, they were explaining police officers were pushed. Yeah? Police officers were not pushed, we lost 7. 6 died. The other one, his core was broken, and we do not have the resources. He died 7. And so ours is more serious than what is termed as insurrection. When people demonstrated, including 2 lawmakers, they were expelled. That tells you the seriousness. We have all along, and even when it started, we always decide to engage the community for us to explain to them that violence is not the answer to anything. If they have concerns, they should bring it all to the police. Or there are other organs that they can take to. They will address it adequately. If they move along, like some people ask actually why we insist that they come to us. We insist that the public come to us because of their own safety and security. Because what we are demonstrating against, there may be individuals who will demonstrate in favor. And if you just roam about the street, you could be attacked. Then if the police is informed, and say, for example, you have marshals, we can work with them and protect you from where you're beginning with your peaceful march to where you're ending. And there are instances that people want to hijack whatever good intention you may have in order to make it ugly, like the hoodlums jump on the streets and then thief the wires of people. So we tell people to come. As we can witness, for example, in South Africa, when the Nigerians were attacked every now and then, we could see they came to a time they decided to confront the South Africans. And we could observe police standing middle at their middle, so that this one should not come this way, this one. So it's all for the safety and security of the public. But what I will emphasize there is that we can only use force as a last resort. We don't really want to use it at all. Except it's forced on us, and we'll think of proportionality. Yeah, we will not be high-handed. That is why we have the Complaint, Discipline, and Internal Investigations Department to monitor our operations and where unprofessional conduct is suspected for those individuals to be adequately dealt with. I move to the second. How we engage the people to understand and sort of filing complaints against security officers who go against the law. The Police Discipline Regulation 2001, which actually is a byproduct of the war we came from, we did a lot of restructuring, and that was one of such restructuring for police officers to know that they have to be professional. And then we did a lot of publicities on that. There are hardly people that are not aware that we have Complaint, Discipline, and Internal Investigations Department where you can find it. But that is not the only one. Further to that, for the As senior police officers, people probably will be tempted to say, oh, well, that is their own establishment. They will not investigate, for example, if someone is a superintendent. That is why the Independent Police Complaint Board is there. All that is for the Sierra Leone police to be provided oversight to ensure that it's professionalism. It does not also end there. We have the ACC. There are some serious corruption issues or other matters that are referred to them concerning police officers. So we have all these oversight bodies just to ensure that the police conform with our rules and regulations and to be very professional. So all these are there, my sister. You can go to any one of them. If you go to ACC, they think that it should be the IPCB that should deal with that, they will send to them. If they think it's much lower than their level, they sit there and they will come in. But even the CDI, don't moderate it. There are instances where we have dismissed police officers and get them, like those who were in training school and were caught with drugs. They were not only dismissed, they were caught and they were imprisoned. Let me go to the other. I have many questions to respond to. You know, I'm a police. Police again. The other question the young lady asked that actually should have been directed to the police. My colleague here stated clearly about drug abuse. We have foreseen that it could be part of which we disturb probably the elections when young men are drugged, they could be used. And so that is why we have asked our commanders to embark on drug raids. So they are raiding those ghettos. If you are on social media, you could see where they are going around raiding the ghettos, taking the drugs found, and the individuals charged to court.
And I think we can give credits to the Waterloo Division.
Oh yes,
Massively.
You are following up. Thank you, Mr. Shaka. Then the other question is those ones that are rude or unprofessional. Let me clearly say that the police is doing a very good job to ensure that we have professional police officers. We give them training. We train them as how actually they comport themselves to members of the public. That is why rule 1 is that they have to be courteous to members of the public. When they fall short of that, we deal with them. We cannot say where you have over 16,000 police officers, everyone will be a saint. But for those who are not saints, that is why we have CDI. That's why we have IPCB. That's why we have ACC. Some will charge with dismiss and charge to court, they are jailed. So we still have these structures to ensure that they are professional. Those who are not are dealt with accordingly. Thank you. A mechanism put in place to close the gaps. We, under the umbrella of awareness, had actually done needs assessment. We did need assessment. In fact, after the 2018, thank God we pointed out that the kind of things we used to take for granted, we should not in terms of security. Because after 2018 elections, we dropped by 10 points on the peace index. And so that's not necessarily what you think very tolerant. Things are happening that we have never witnessed ever since we emerged from war. But then we are doing very well to manage it. What we have done, the SNP, from time to time, we call up press conferences. We invite all the media houses. We explain to them how we are going about with security. This is because we believe that through them, the public will be able to hear. And if there are concerns, they ask, they put across. So that is one way we attend the public. But then because after 2018, the countrywide assessment show hotspots, we have decided to ask our outreach department, the community outreach department, to reach to those communities that are prone to violence, to counsel them, for them to understand that that is not the way forward. So we are reaching to the public. I'll go to the other one. That the country is highly securitized. Whether people will not that will not scare away voters, no. it is for the safety and security of the voters. We have decided to ensure that they are secured, and that is one aspect, that we police their areas where we think that it is prone to violence, that there is joint police and military deployment, so that they will be, and so as to ensure that the safety and security is guaranteed, and so it will not scare them away. On the contrary, it will give them assurance that they are safe, they can sleep and they will snore. And the last one, the SLP prepared to monitor those, the lady there with, from PPRC. Now, let me draw your attention to Madam representing PPRC. Central to Western democracy is tolerance and observance of rule of law. What is missing in Sierra Leone is that people, or some people, are very much conscious of their rights, but they are not conscious of the rights of others. For instance, when we were providing security for the registration of a particular political party on Monday, we did not write the names of those who should accompany their flag bearer and the running mate. They wrote it. It was clear to them that their flag bearer and the running mate should actually sit in vehicle with their immediate families and drive into ECSL, and they will be joined by 20 other individuals of their own party. Even where I called the Secretary General and several other members of that political party, they moved. We engaged them at Garrison Street. They still push us up to the library, and if few tear gas should have not actually been released, only God knows whether they would have not gone up to this CSL. And what is pathetic in this country is that those who should be able to advise are not. You will see lawyers coming to you, I want to use the discretion. I said, but you should understand that you people prepare 20 names to accompany the flag bearer and the running mate. And you're telling me to use my discretion. Discretion should be based on law. Otherwise, you will be found wanting. So when we are talking about all these other things, where police is always prepared, but the other thing we have to tell members of the public is that there should be tolerance, they have to obey rule of law. If only when they do that, then they make the country very good for us all. So, Madam, from PPRC, we are prepared, as always, to provide security for them, to go to where they want to assemble, and for them to be addressed. But then when they fall short, our business is to secure the innocent civilians. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks to all the panelists for the brilliant contributions. Thanks to the contributors. I think this session has come to an end.
Thank you very much. I think my brother there, his last statement he made was that the military personnel, they are taking innocent lives. I don't know that was what you said. I want to make it clear that the Republic of Sierra Leone forces is not aware of what you said, and the Republic of Sierra Leone forces personnel are professional military personnel. We don't take innocent lives. We only go to any operation when we are invited. And even if we are invited, we go there with our rule of engagement. With that said, I want to assure or reassure this gathering of this august body that the Republic of Sierra Leone Force is fully ready and committed to support the Sierra Leone Police, other government institutions, including Election Commission Sierra Leone, and above all, the people of Sierra Leone, to ensuring that security is enhanced in order to have the violence-free June 2023 general elections. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thanks very much. to another session.
Yeah, I think the next session will be postponed to tomorrow because we did not manage our time well. It's now 5. Most of you have been fatigued, if not. And those who are getting some energy boost are not at our table. So I think we should clap for ourselves. That's very good for doing remarkably well for today. And we should continue in the same spirit for tomorrow. We want to see more faces around. If possible, the military, the police force, the Human Rights Commission, the independent, peace commission. These conversations is about the architectures of these institutions. It is very much important you do a follow-up participation. So you actually learn from these participants, their perceptions and concerns about how these institutions operate before, during, and after elections. So with that, when you return back to your institutions, definitely you'll be able to readjust your operational plans. So I want to thank all government officials and all civil society, religious representatives for making very good use of this time. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Greetings, everybody. We want to say thank you all. So now all we be done there with Winner Sarah Network from this 10 o'clock morning until this 5 o'clock. For you we just they join, ECOSOCC na organization waiting under the African Union. So African Union they in a salon right now, and they engage few people them like the security stakeholders them, civil societies them, and other few local organizations them relating the upcoming elections. And this conference they take place na Sierra Bay, na Aberdeen. Sierra Bay na the former Sierra Lighthouse. So na 3 days conference. Today na the first day, we will get for there back tomorrow and next tomorrow. So for you who don't miss today, you can go through Sierra Network page. You watch the previous broadcast them what we don't do, and tomorrow and for there back for John Wheeler use. No waiting at the preparedness of the security sectors and other key people them. Tomorrow we don't know them what we will get for there, so you go find following join with tomorrow, so we go know the people that would expect to go there so tomorrow. Till then, we na Sierra Network they tell una thank you, they say tata.